Do you like what we do here? I would assume so if you're listening to this. We have had a good year for growth this year. We've had substantial growth on all the podcast feeds with new subscribers. We have the new YouTube channel with a bunch of new subscribers there too. But we want to carry this over into 2026 so we can continue to provide high quality entertainment, high quality news, high quality reviews, and all that kind of stuff. So what we're asking for going into next year is, if you have the ability, we're not asking for a lot, you can donate. Go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and make a donation. Everything you do goes towards making sure we can do things. That way I can take days off work to go and cover things early, or, things of that nature. Go to events and talk about them early, see advanced screenings. All that stuff goes into that budget. On top of that, if you can't afford that, and I realize right now things are tough and things are rough out there. If you can't afford that, the easiest thing you can do is subscribe and rate. No matter what you use to get this podcast, you can subscribe. Just hit the follow button, hit subscribe, whatever the button is on your thing, and then rate us. Give us 5 stars. That'll help more people find us, and the more people find us, the more we can, the more we'll be able to do, and we'll be able to get more happening. You can also go to mwpnews.com and sign up for our newsletter. There we will have articles and stuff like that about what we cover on this show. And we will also be doing more gaming content on the YouTube channel. If we can get, with more subscribers on there, we can do more. And that's youtube.com/@MWPnews. And again, thank you for a great year for us. Next year will be better. One of the big issues that I had this year that preempted me from doing a lot of what I wanted to has been resolved with the issue with my car, and that issue has been resolved. So going into this next year, we should be a lot more smooth sailing, but we do need your help to get more people listening and get what we're doing here out there. So just subscribe, tell your friends, and if you have the ability to, and you have the money, and you want to, and you think we're doing a good job, and we've earned that, go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and throw us whatever you think we deserve. And thank you, and enjoy this episode. Good morning and welcome to, what is this? Exploring Hyperspace Lanes. I am Adam. Nope, not Exploring Hyperspace Lanes. The Backlog Files. I am Adam. I know what we're doing today. And what we're talking about today is Super Mario Galaxy. Because this week is the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Last week we did Super Mario Sunshine, which is somewhat related. And now this week we're doing Super Mario Galaxy, because that's the movie. And I remember playing this back in, I had it for the Wii, but I didn't get it when it came out initially. I had it sometime later, and I remember playing it at the time and being like, holy fuck, this is great. Cause that opening sequence where you're running through the Mushroom Kingdom and going to the castle, everything looks so great. You play through the game and you're like, this is fantastic. Everything about this is really cool and all of that. Playing through it now, it ends up feeling a little thin, for lack of a better word. I still really enjoyed it. I would say I enjoyed it more than Sunshine. And for what it's worth, what they're doing in this game is really impressive, and it works very well. The idea of the adjusting gravity and dealing with the varying, different sources of gravity and playing with that, all of that works so well. I think that, like, my one issue is that, like, well, number one, outside of a few, I think these are all kind of dovetailing issues that are all kind of related. Outside of, like, one or two levels, one or two worlds, the themes don't go as deep as they should, which is a little disappointing. If you're going to do something like this, like they've done before, it's like the idea that, like, there are three regular stars per level, one mystery star, then there's, like, the red coin star with the flight hat, and then there's also, like, 2 comets. Although some of them don't have the mystery star. There are people that have 7, most of them have 6. But it's like, what ends up happening is that it's like, a lot of them feel very repetitive. Like, the Cosmic Mario race always feels kind of the same, no matter what course you're doing it on. The faster enemies thing, which happened, you know, there's a few levels that do that. It's always on the thing with a lot of moving obstacles, and it is just kind of the same thing, just slightly faster. And then there's also, you know, the one health thing, which, like, the only time I ran into an issue with the one health boss was the fucking Bouldergeist thing, where it's like the ghost with the rocks. The only time I actually encountered an issue on that. Every other time I kind of just, you know, moved through it very quickly. And I think that kind of comes back to what my big problem with this game is. Compared to Sunshine and compared to 64, I played 64 recently, this game is really easy. Like, almost too easy. And I'm not saying, like, oh, it's easy to play, you know, hard to 100%, because, like, I would say to an extent, like, 64 is kind of like that, where it's like anyone can jump in and play a 64. It's not incredibly difficult to roll credits on 64. If you want to get to 100%, there are some levels that require more work than others. Sunshine, incredibly difficult to roll to not roll credits, but to 100%, especially with some of the quality of life things that are lacking in the game. It's just, this game, so easy to get all the stars. So easy to even get to the end of the game. Like, I played through Sunshine, and I did not 100% it when I did the playthrough for last week's review. I was just like, fuck it, let's just get through the story, refresh me on what this is, that'll be enough. And it's just like, that's kind of what, okay, that's really all you need for that. For this, it's like, there's no reason not to get it to 120 stars. Because it's so easy. And I found myself, like, just from playing the game normally, I found myself way ahead of the game. Even the challenge levels, like the Green Star challenge levels, it only took me like 2 or 3 tries. And look, granted, I was playing in handheld mode, and I think that, like, the motion controlled stuff in handheld mode plays a lot better and a lot easier than playing it in docked, where when you play it in docked, you got to use the Joy-Cons like a Wii remote. You got to point at the screen. You got to, like, it's a lot harder to do that. And I get that, but playing it in handheld is just so easy. It's just so annoyingly easy to get through this entire game, and that's part of the problem, is that I haven't played this game on a TV screen since I played it originally on the Wii. And playing it now on the, on the Switch, I was just like, yeah, I mean, I blew through this game like it was tissue paper. There's nothing. You just go right through it. And even the things like the races that, like, rely on motion controls are so much easier in this game. Because it's like, oh, okay, well, you gotta hold the controller straight, and as long as you hold the button down, it's very hard to fall off the platform. I think that, like, on that, I fell off the platform once. On the one where you gotta move move the ball, and you have to ride on top of it as Mario, it's kind of like a Mario Party minigame. I think I died maybe twice, and I think both of them were on the Green Star bonus level. Even things like the ones where it's like, okay, well, you gotta blow, like, not like in dock you wouldn't physically blow, but like you have to, like, hold the controller and blow in the right direction by pressing the A button to move Mario in this bubble. Even that, I had this incredible like lack of issue actually getting that done, because it's just like, oh, you touch the screen, okay, great, and it's not rocket science. The only thing that I would be tempted to see, and go back and look at and see if it's harder on handheld than it is on docked, is the stuff with the star you have to hold on to, because you have to tap on the screen. But even then, it's like you're not actually playing it the right way, so like, does it really matter? Like, and for what it's worth, I think they did a fairly good job of porting a game that is as reliant on motion and point and click as this game was, to a console that's primarily not that. It's a console that's designed to be brought with you and played when you're sitting in the waiting room of a doctor's office. It's designed to be played under your desk in school, like, when you're trying to avoid your teacher catching you, or you're trying to, like, it's a handheld. It's like, it functions as a Game Boy, but it also has the power of a home console that you can play at home. And that's kind of where I'm playing this, and I'm like, is this really, like, it's not short by any stretch of the imagination. It's just as long as the other ones. But, like, even so, like, the idea that, like, I'm going through, like, the toy level, and I'm like, they're not playing with the toy theme to the degree that I would like. And that sounds like I'm being nitpicky. It sounds like I'm being, like, pissy about it. But, like, if you're going to theme these levels after things, you got to play around with that a little bit more. The only one that really did that was the first B level, and then there's also a late game level with surfing, and it's like those are the only ones that really play with that. Oh, there are 2 water levels. I wanted to count the other water level. Okay, and the fire and ice. They do it enough. Let's say they do it enough. They don't do it for every level in the way that I would like. Like, I don't think the haunted level does it quite as much as I would like. I don't think that the initial ones, like, the theme's just outer space, like, and like, there's one where it's like there's wind, and you gotta go through the galaxy with all the wind, and you gotta avoid, you gotta ride the stuff. It doesn't feel as deep. And I think that what this comes from is that this game is the half step between, the 3D Marios that we had up until this point, 64 and Sunshine, and then, like, 3D Land, 3D World, and even, like, Super Mario Galaxy 2, where it's like, it is more linear. It is kind of like, a new Super Mario Bros., or like the original Super Mario Brothers, but in a 3D space, and that's different. Like, it's a very different kind of experience to go through it that way, and I feel like that's kind of the thing that this game is. There's no exploration, or there's minimal exploration as you're going through, and you're trying to, take advantage of what the world, what this level is, and really explore it. You don't do enough of that, though, and I think that what that comes from is that it's like there's a point A and a point B, like. Yeah, you're a little bit more free and open to do whatever you want between point A and point B, but that is kind of what happens with, like, 3D Land, 3D World, and games like that, and Galaxy 2. Like, Galaxy 2 doesn't even have a hub world, if I remember correctly. I haven't played Galaxy 2 in quite some time, but, like, I seem to recall that one just has you're on the spaceship, and then you go level to level, as if you were playing, like, New Super Mario Brothers, or Super Mario Bros. Wonder, or something like that. And to that end, really looking at this game's a 5, but it's not a 5 gold, which, like, if you go on the website, you'll see we have, like, the 5-star, we have the 5 gold star. The 5 gold star is, like, this is something that I would consider, like, perfection. 5-star is, like, it's really good, it's not perfect. Like, Pokopia, 5 gold. This is 5. And that's kind of where I am on this, where it's like, there are things they could have done better. There are clearly things they could have done better. But for what this game was at the time, for what they're pulling off there, and even to this day, like, there are games that try to do what this did. Like, I look at, like, Sonic Lost World, which was very clearly trying to capitalize on the success of this and try to do Sonic in this, this 3D environment. And the idea that, like, that game just doesn't work. And this one does. And it's like even games like, Sonic Generations and all of that, where they're, running on walls and stuff like that. What was the game I was playing where they had the wall run? Oh, Super Mario Kart World, where it's like, oh, you jump up on the side, you tread the wall. It's like I used that maybe twice in my playthrough. Maybe twice. Like, I can't even guarantee that it was exactly twice. It was, it's probably less than that. But that's fundamentally what this, kind of, is. It's like they did a great job of getting this kind of, working, and it still runs very well to this day. It's not broken, it's not anything like that, and this is something where it's like, it's phenomenal. Check this game out. If you haven't played Super Mario Galaxy before, check it out now. Super Mario Galaxy movie comes out this Thursday. It is Holy Week. In 10 years ago, this week. Well, I mean, this lunar week, because it is, it's Holy Week. Peter and I were settling in to watch Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. And then we had the realization when we left, like, oh, the reason they opened this Easter weekend is not just because, it's not just because, this movie works out that, you want that nice long weekend so you can, get more people to see it. The other reason they did it was because the movie, the third act is just, the Passion of the Christ. And that is, that's something where it's like, that was 10 years ago at this point. But yeah, Super Mario, what are we doing here? Super Mario, the Super Mario Galaxy movie comes out Thursday. I think we're going to cover it on Thursday. I'm not 100% yet. I apologize for the lack of content over on Beware of Spoilers recently. I've been going through some medical issues and some testing and all of that, which has taken a lot of my time, where I would be going to the movies. And hopefully, I'm recording this Sunday night. Hopefully we get to the point in the near future where I get a concrete answer on what exactly is going on, so that way we don't have these holdups anymore. And hopefully that happens, like, this week. I mean, Thursday I have my next appointment, so, we'll see. But, it is what it is. And, we'll wrap up there for today. And until our next episode, which will be next week. Next week, we're going to talk about a game that is not this one. The game we're going to talk about next week is the Neopets minigame collection. So what they did is Neopets licensed out a bunch of their old minigames from Neopets.com to this other company to collect up in a physical collection on your PlayStation and on your Switch and on your computer, so you can play these games and still get the points. You can log into your Neopets account and still get the points. But oh boy, do we have stuff to talk about with this game, and I'm looking forward to that. But until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.